Ben Clark. I have been a member, I guess a practice member here for a little over 2 years. We moved here from Knoxville, Tennessee. I had sought out chiropractic prior, and I really like I guess they call it the torque release therapy. So it's non-invasive. It's not the manual adjustments. I think the fancy term I call it with my boys that are in practice as well as the little clicker. And so it was really nice we started doing that. Our youngest is 2 years old. He got his first adjustment when he was 5 days old. And then our oldest, who's now 7, he started when he was, I think it was like 6 or 7 days. So we've been, yeah, so when you think about chiropractic care and care for kids was really one of the big things. And because it's so non-invasive, it's just a few clicks and keeps the kids' alignment. So we've seen that with them. They've been in daycare, they've been in childcare. Our oldest is now in 1st grade, and you constantly have families and kids. Somebody's got an ear infection, those sick. They're always out of school because of sickness and something, and it goes around families, travel and things like that. And our boys are in school on a regular basis, not having to miss because of that. So that's kind of been a real benefit specifically for the kids. Myself, I sought out chiropractic first. So I had super bad plantar fasciitis. So the bottom of my feet, specifically my left foot, was hurt to stand up, hurt to walk, hurt to really kind of do anything. The super sharp pain. And I had been to a podiatrist. I had seen surgeons, and it was just going to be surgery. You're going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, and then you still have bone spurs. It's just going to be surgery. It's really going to be the only thing that could potentially do anything, and it's not a guarantee that it's going to be a fix. And I found chiropractic care. And it took about 3.5 months of continued treatment. Pretty aggressive on the first part because you're on your treatment plan, coming a couple times a week. And you think about it was going to be a little bit difficult to come to chiropractor a couple times a week, but man, you're in and out within 5 to 10 minutes at most. So you can come in, it's super quick. It's quicker to get adjusted than it is to go through Chick-fil-A drive-through, right? And they do it pretty well. But you come in here, you get adjusted, boosting your immunity system. So anytime how I've used it, obviously that's been a huge issue and a benefit for me has been the plantar fasciitis, and that's basically been completely removed. I don't have the pain, don't have the sharpness. That's been a huge benefit for me because of care. And then I travel a lot, usually probably once a month. I'm gone for a week or so on a plane, so you're around different environments. My family and I travel, so normally we try to come in right before we leave, so it kind of boosts the immunity system as soon as we come back, and just you can swing by and come in, you get adjusted, and it's been pretty beneficial from that standpoint. So it's all around health. We don't really have a primary care doctor at this point. We moved to Florida, like I said, 2 years ago, and we found some kids pediatrics so they could get the records so they could go to school. But other than that, as far as continued doctor visits and things along that lines, it's been more we come here. My wife, when she has issues, she's talking to Dr. Logan. Hey, what about this? Or I'm having this female issue. What do you think it is? And so kind of adjustments are a big part of that. Effectively, when I was going to the podiatrist I was getting cortisone shots, things like that, and everything was just kind of numbing the issue. And the last result was I was going to have to have surgery, and then the surgery wasn't even guaranteed that this was going to fix it, right? They were going to cut out the bone spurs, and then we'll see if that would help the plantar fasciitis, and you won't really know until 3 to 4 months later. So we're very active, from exercising, working out, running, walking, jogging, lifting weights, playing softball, playing with the kids. And so to be out for 3 to 4 months with not even a guarantee that it's going to fix, go to chiropractic care, and you go to the initial first meeting, and just the science behind, if you can get your body aligned and your spine aligned correctly, the body, God created us to heal on our own. And if we have all of our nervous system is able to operate properly, we don't have any kinks in our spine, and all the things are supposed to, blood's supposed to flow where it's supposed to flow to, and we're in proper alignment, our body will naturally heal ourselves. And for me, with those first probably 3 months, coming in a couple times a week for, about a month, and then a week, and then every week, and then kind of been on maintenance since then. So we've been practicing for almost 10 years now, but the maintenance aspect is basically, once a week, or every other week. But those first 30, 60 days, I was noticing I've always had allergies, sinus issues, and I had noticed taking a shower, using my wife's shampoo, and it hit me like, man, this is really strong. This is a strong sense. And it was just, I can smell more. Like the smells were much more vibrant because I was always congested. And then the second piece that I had, like the epiphany that happened, was I also heard from my wife. She's like, you're not breathing as heavy when you're sleeping, because I was always heavier because I had the sinus congestion. I was breathing a lot like a mouth sleeper. And now with Sense Chiropractic, it's through the nose and not really, my sleep had gotten better from that standpoint. And then the next thing after that was kind of the foot. You wake up one day that for months you had gone with, my foot had been hurting, there was constant pain, and you just kind of dealt with that. And then one day you wake up, and next thing I knew, walking, I noticed I haven't favored my foot in half a day. And now that's when, I was like, okay, this has been a big benefit for me. I was referred to the roots from a chiropractor in Tennessee. And so Dr. Logan and her actually went to the same chiropractic school. And so when we were moving down here, we talked to our chiropractor that we were moving, and this is where we were going. And so they recommended, and there was, I think, 2 or 3 based on where we lived. And so we took the opportunity to come in, got to know the team, got to know the office and the staff, and kind of meshed really well as well. So it feels, we go to church together, so our kids are around the same age, so the kids will see each other at church, and it's hard for them to leave, as you're seeing sometimes, because they have the stuff and the kids can play in the little play area, and their kids play with the doctor's kids and things, and Dr. Logan and Dr. Lars' kids, and so that's kind of been a cool experience as well. So it was really through the referral process of chiropractic care, and I had found that chiropractor in Tennessee was through kind of a business networking group, and I was like, well, last ditch effort. If I can get clicked and cracked and something like that, and if that fixes my foot, then I'm all in. I was willing to do that as like a last ditch effort, and it worked, and I've been sold on it ever since. Yeah, it started with my wife and I first coming in, and so she had always thought that she wasn't able to get pregnant, and within 12 months of care. So you get, every 6 months, you get your little report card. They come in, they roll the thing on your back, and it's a scanner, and you have different colors, right? So the more colors, the worse it is. The darker colors, the worse it is. You want, like, if you're perfectly aligned, it's all white, that means your body's functioning properly. And within about a year of care, my wife did happen to go for her middle of the year screening, and came back and she had all white on the back, and then the following month found out we were pregnant. So that was, so it was like, hey, she was like, I didn't think I could do that. So she was kind of blaming our chiropractor at that point, like, you got me pregnant. And so we've heard a ton of stories that have been, fertility have been a big thing there. It's not a lot that's involved for the kids, and you get them started soon, because just the actual birth process, right? Like coming out of the womb, and the stress and the anxiety, getting your body, they've been crunched up for 9 months. I'm a big fellow, my boys were big, and so they're kind of crunched in my wife's belly for 9 months, and now all of a sudden stretching out. And man, it made a huge difference. And so I was sold on it because of the benefits it had for me. And there's no medication, there's no pills, there's no ointments, there's no creams. It's not like that. It's, you come in and it's your body properly aligning how God created. And it's just, and kids are so easy for them to be able to do that, because their spines are, I guess how they say, their spines are not as fixed as we are as adults. And so they're very easy to get molded back and keep them correct. And I think that helped a lot for their teething and their sleeping and their growing and all of those, the earaches and the things like that all normal kids have. Not that our kids didn't really have any of those, but the process of them healing through that was a super cool thing to see how much they were just able to easily process that and it not be such a, oh man, we've got to deal with this for such a long time. You wait until you're 30, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old before you go get chiropractor. Now you have 60 years of your body being out of alignment and not properly working. And it takes longer for your body to go back to kind of ground zero and recover. Whereas if we can start with our kids and start early with just preventative maintenance, then you're never gonna, the prevention is better than the fix and much cheaper than the fix. And so just constantly staying on that. And that's kind of the idea where we had for the kids to just make sure, hey, we're gonna give them the opportunity to grow healthy, to flourish healthy and normal without having to wait until they're older to have to turn around and learn how to fix an issue from there. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people. We refer a lot of people into chiropractic care because they see the benefits for my family, so the kind of the results speak for themselves. But what I would say is that it's very rare that you talk to somebody who's been going to and have had chiropractic care that they don't that they're willing to change a chiropractor. Once they go to a chiropractor, it's like, dude, this is the it thing. I can change everything else. I'll change my dentist. I'll change my primary care. I'll change everything else, but my chiropractor. Me, in being in insurance, a lot of people are like, I don't care if they're in or out of network. I'm still going. And so there's a reason behind that. And so what I would say is, if you're looking for an actual long-term real fix, and that your body is going to naturally take care of itself the way that we were created and the way our bodies are supposed to function, the chiropractic care has been the one thing that fixes a true fix of the actual cause versus a fix of a symptom. This has been different here because they have access to so many different things. So from your red light therapy, they're adding that stuff. Dr. Logan's really big on the neuropathy, so having many conversations with him. And most of the time people, they think of chiropractic care. They think traditionally it's just I got a back issue, but they deal a lot with lower appendages, knees, hips, and then like the red light therapy that you can go do. So there's all these different pieces that are available that you have access to in one doctor's office. Is nice. What I would say from a cost perspective and the expense is it's very manageable on a regular monthly basis. They can create, with the payment plans and things along that line, care credits that allow from a cost perspective. But the reality is, when you add into the aspect of less cost of doctor visits, less cost of medications, less cost of out-of-pocket visits, less cost of going for additional or other treatments. When you factor in the savings that's built in from that, and just keeping on routine maintenance care, I think you can see that's where the massive value comes into play from that standpoint. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You get a family plan, and then we're long-term members, so you can kind of have an opportunity for, the more that you're here, it's like you're on regular care, so you can get member repricing from that standpoint. We're kind of like frequent flyers. We're in here pretty regularly from that aspect, and it's a simple process too. So it doesn't, whether the family's a large family or a young family, makes it from a cost perspective pretty easy from that standpoint.